Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz 2. The rematch is now in the works for a January pay-per-view card, and the BMF title will be on the line. I thought I'd make a video talking about this and giving my official reaction to the news, because some people just don't seem to be reacting the same way that I am about this. So I thought I'd give you guys my opinion, and my opinion on the rematch happening right now is, I don't really care. I don't care. I watched the first fight between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, and you know what I watched? I watched Jorge Masvidal batter Nate Diaz pillar to post for 3 whole rounds. Now, I know there's some kind of controversy that I'm sure they're going to use in the promo for this rematch to somehow validate giving Nate Diaz a rematch against Jorge Masvidal. They're going to make it all about the injury. What would have happened in the 4th and 5th rounds? We need to know an answer. I'm a person who picked Nate Diaz to win, and I'm a person who picked Nate Diaz to win by coming back in the 4th and 5th rounds. When the stoppage was originally made in the first fight, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm really angry about this. I'm furious about this because I predicted that Nate Diaz was going to come back in rounds 4 and 5 and win the fight against Jorge Masvidal. I was delusional for picking Nate Diaz to do that because the entire time leading up to that fight card, all the way through the camp, ever since it was announced, I was saying that Jorge Masvidal was going to win, and then last minute I changed to Nate Diaz, and it really did shame me. It really did shame me because you shouldn't have picked Nate Diaz going into that contest, but I did. And even I thought, looking back at that fight, well, that's not how I thought it was going to go. I thought Jorge Masvidal was going to go out there, try and KO Nate Diaz, not be able to do it, which is kind of what happened, but I thought Jorge Masvidal was going to go out there, barely win a couple of rounds, eventually succumb to the pressure, and around round 2 or 3, we were going to start to see Nate Diaz coming back, and then it would lead to the 4 and 5 being more dominant for Diaz, and him getting the job done. We didn't see that. And as a person who picked Nate Diaz, I can admit what I saw. I saw potentially multiple 10-8 rounds where Jorge Masvidal was just completely outclassing Nate Diaz, and looking back on that fight, I don't think Nate Diaz would have maybe came back from that. And I think it was maybe a blessing in disguise not to have Nate Diaz go through that 4th and 5th round, because I know, although things started to change a little bit because Jorge Masvidal was somewhat getting a little bit tired of whooping Nate Diaz all around the octagon, I don't need a rematch. I don't need this rematch. This fight was not made for me right now, okay? I'm not happy about this one. I wanted to see Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards. I thought that was a perfect title elimination bout to get the winner of it back into the title picture and maybe earn themselves a title shot again. Who knows how impressively they win. I thought it should have been Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards. It should have been Jorge Masvidal versus the winner of Covington versus Woodley for the next title shot. Fingers crossed it's Covington, because we've been waiting for that matchup for the longest of times. Anyone but a Nate Diaz rematch, because guess where Nate Diaz is ranked in the welterweight division? I believe number 13. Now, Neil Magny just shifted above him, so I think he's shifted down even more past number 12 to number 13. That does not excite me anymore. I've seen it. I've seen Masvidal beat him up. This is not massive news to me, and it should be massive news. The comeback of Jorge Masvidal should be huge news, and I should be frothing at the mouth about it and going into a rabies-induced fit over here, which I kind of am. But I should be way more excited. When I look back sometimes, and I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks this way, when I look back at the BMF title at UFC 244, I cringe. I actually cringe watching it. I don't like seeing it. It's just, I was so happy it was over and done with. Like a week after the event, I kind of calmed down about the whole stoppage situation, because in the heat of the moment, I don't know who wasn't furious about that stoppage, to be honest with you. But still, after I'd had some time to recollect, and I watched back some of the fights, it was kind of a silly thing, because when you really think about it, yeah, it's the BMF title. The BMF, the bad motherfucker of the octagon. Okay? Bruce Buffer can't even announce the words that the initials stand for when he's calling them out and introducing them to the crowd before they face each other, and literally throw bones towards each other's face all night long. We can't even swear in the octagon. I thought it was quite embarrassing. I thought it was a little bit cringy, and I'll be honest with you guys, Nate Diaz is 20 and 12. Nate Diaz's record is catching up to the current year. That's not a joke. You know, he'll get there soon if he keeps losing. I don't think that Nate Diaz is going to win the rematch. I'm even less confident in Nate Diaz than I ever was before, because it's only become longer and longer since we've seen him in the octagon again. And this is not a good time to be out of the cage. This is not the old Nate Diaz who took a bit of time off, where he was still in his prime. This is a Nate Diaz who was at the end of his prime when he fought Jorge Masvidal the first time, and has now taken out of prime years off. That's only going to make things worse and worse, not to mention the damage that he took against Jorge Masvidal. That scar tissue is not just going to go away. That's going to reopen again to Jorge Masvidal's elbows in the clinch. I just don't... I need to see someone where I'm like, ooh, dangerous for Masvidal. This is interesting. Like Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal. That's a real close fight. It's got heat behind it. The BMF belt could be on the line on that one as well. You've got the whole 3-piece and a soda where Masvidal punched Leon Edwards backstage. That has like almost 10 million views right now. And I don't even know how many views it has, but it has multiple million views on YouTube. That's a perfect piece of promo. Let's settle that backstage beef in the octagon as the headliner of a pay-per-view with the BMF belt on the line. But I know what they want to do. Get Nate Diaz and Masvidal back in there, because that way Masvidal gets to beat Diaz. And I know there's a lot of Diaz fans out there that are going to say stuff like, hey man, Diaz is a fucking gangster, man. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. Diaz is going to lose. Diaz is going to lose. In my opinion, he's going to lose pretty badly. And I think the UFC knows exactly what they're doing. They're enticing Nate Diaz with a rematch that he wants, which he does against Masvidal because he feels like he was robbed. Fair play to Nate Diaz. He has his reasons. They want Masvidal to go out there, look really good beating up Nate Diaz in a rematch, make it final, and if he gets a title shot after this, if he actually gets a title shot after this, it would be crushing as a UFC fan, because it would tell me that it's over. Everything that made our sport so good is maybe over now. I know McGregor pulled a few strings and he got to play the big man now and again, but still, if Masvidal gets a title shot for beating Nate Diaz in a rematch at welterweight, Masvidal shouldn't have got a title shot for beating him in the first time, but he took it on short notice, so we allowed it. We allowed the title shot to happen because it was happening on short notice. Well done, Masvidal. You took the title shot on short notice. You got your opportunity there. Beating Nate Diaz is not a title elimination bout at welterweight. It never has been. So for them to try and do this again, and if Masvidal thinks he's going to be earning a title shot after this one, I don't know, man. As much as I like Masvidal, and it's very good to have Masvidal fight for the belt, and I'd maybe be somewhat interested in seeing Masvidal and what he could maybe do on a full camp against Kamaru Usman, don't give him a title shot after this one. Let's have one more, because it's Nate Diaz. I like Nate Diaz. He's 20-12. That's not even like an exaggeration. Like, people take digs at Jorge's record because he's 34-13. Like, Nate Diaz, I don't know, dude. It's like not even, you can't win half of your, like, you can't win double your fights than your losses. You can't win 2 for every 1, really. Nate Diaz for the BMF belt, title elimination bout. I don't know, dude. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know why I'm calling you dude now, but, you know, you've been gendered. It's 2020, you get fucking over it, boys. Or sue me, because it's also 2020, so do whatever you want there, but still. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal 2, good matchup. I just wish it would never happen. I just so badly wanted to see Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal, and I thought it was going to happen, because Leon Edwards was really quiet, and when Leon Edwards isn't talking, you know something's stopping him from talking, because Leon Edwards loves to let everyone know how he feels about every single step and move that Masvidal makes, and Leon Edwards posted a little tweet after Masvidal... Or the news broke that it was in the works for January. Leon Edwards says, could have fought number 3, but yet chose to fight number 12. Sorry, I'm going to actually say it in a real voice, otherwise we'll never fucking get through it. Eventually, this pussy will fight me. I'm all for money fights, but watching 2 journeymen go at it again when it wasn't even competitive is a joke. And this is the BMF. I know people don't like Leon Edwards. I don't know why they don't like Leon Edwards, because he got fucking sucker punched backstage by Masvidal. Okay, we don't like Leon Edwards, fair enough. But Leon Scott's got a point here. Name something he said that was wrong. Could have fought number 3, Leon Edwards, get him right back in the title picture and earn himself an immediate title rematch against Usman if he does win. I doubt that if they're willing to maybe give him a title shot if he beats Nate Diaz in a rematch, they'd give him a title shot if he beats Leon Edwards. That's just a fact. yet chose to fight number 12, now 13. It's got worse. It's got worse since Magny jumped up the rankings. Eventually, this pussy will fight me. I'm all for money fights, but watching two journeymen go at it again when it wasn't even competitive, that's the main thing I take away from his tweet, is when it wasn't even competitive. When I see a rematch of high caliber, let there be some intangibles other than, oh, Nate Diaz still breathing. We need to see it again. I don't get it. He got whooped. I picked Diaz. I'm a Diaz fan. I've been a huge Diaz fan for a while. He got whooped. I watched it happen. Masvidal beat the hell out of him. And he's going to baptize him in a rematch. Don't like the matchup. It's going to be a bad one. I actually think Masvidal's going to chew up those legs this time, because it's something that he didn't really do too much of the first time. He was throwing them quite a bit, but you saw against Usman, he was loading up on some leg kicks. I feel like Masvidal's probably going to go out there with a little bit of a more strategic approach and try and make things a little bit more technical and clinical against Diaz. I think he gets it done. There's just a size difference, a clear strength difference, which we saw in the first fight as well, a speed difference. I hate to say it, but Nate Diaz never looks good. And against Michael Johnson and Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz looked really good in those fights. But after that, even his win against Pettis, why did I pick Nate Diaz to beat Masvidal the first time? I'm actually fucking retarded. Even in his win against Pettis, a one-footed Pettis at the time, by the way, because he broke his foot in that fight. But, fair play to Nate. He headbutted Pettis' foot. But still, or checked his kick. I don't even remember what happened. But he broke his foot. Nate Diaz still didn't look good in that win. Even though it was a win against Pettis, who did just beat Wonderboy, which I predicted to happen, by the way, and finish in round 2. I don't know, dude. I don't think it's going to go well for Nate. And I said, I was just about to get into this with rematches. The whole thing when Leon Edwards said it wasn't even competitive, I get that. There's nothing to... with Stipe versus DC, there was the eye poke. There was maybe Stipe got clipped and we could see the rematch, and Stipe had to wait a long time anyway to get his rematch, so that might have not even happened if Lesnar didn't end up having to go through USADA and then having to retire from the UFC once again and leave that USADA testing pool. But I just need to see something in the first fight to tell me that a rematch is going to be different. And I said this in the McGregor fight. I picked McGregor in the rematch. I picked Stipe in the rematch. I picked Stipe in the trilogy. There just needs to be something. And Stipe got KO'd round 1 in the first fight, but there was still something. There was an eye poke that we could dissect. There was a fact that Stipe was potentially winning that fight before the very end. And maybe he just didn't see the shot coming. And he just went 5 rounds of Ngannou. There were all of these intangibles. But with Nate Diaz, and with Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, the first fight, Conor McGregor was moving up to a new division. First time at 170 from 145, or was trying to fight at 155. Took the fight on short notice. Had staph infection going into that fight. Maybe wasn't too efficient with his energy and went for the kill straight away and had no respect for Nate Diaz. And then I made the argument you could pick McGregor in a rematch. I watched Nate Diaz get raped. I watched him get raped in the octagon for 3 rounds. Don't think it's going to be any different. He's only going to have more scar tissue. Only going to have more CTE. I don't know, dude. Not going to go too well, in my opinion. But they made the matchup, so we're just going to have to deal with it. And I'll tell you this, it's in January. No other stars are going to be looking to book pay-per-views in January. No other fighters are going to be looking for a pay-per-view in January, period. Because, listen, there's one time you don't want to be going through a training camp. It's through Christmas and New Year's. And I guess Thanksgiving in America as well is another holiday that you guys have around that time. But that's the one time period in the year where, as a fighter, I would understand people not wanting to go through a training camp. So for that, I'm actually kind of thankful. I just hope to God that the credibility of this fine sport of MMA prevails, and this sport that I have loved for so long in the UFC does not stab me in the back and become its pillow-punching compadre boxing itself by giving Masvidal a title shot if he wins this one. Because I tell you this, if Colby beats Woodley, he's earned it more than Masvidal. If Edwards beats Wonderboy, he's earned it more than Masvidal. If Wonderboy beats Edwards, Wonderboy's beat Masvidal, he's earned it more than Masvidal. I'm not just shitting on Masvidal here. And I understand I put myself in a very dangerous position in these videos because I'm coming at all angles here. It's not like I'm just sucking off Masvidal and then going after Nate Diaz, or sucking off Diaz and going after Masvidal. I'm angering all parts. I can't wait to see the like to dislike ratio, but it's just... Is it just me who's missing that oomph? Maybe that was a bit too much, but That, you know? Maybe not an, but like a, I just need a, I need a, It was the same thing with McGregor versus Cerrone. The fight got announced. Maybe it's because I knew the fight was going to be announced. Maybe that diminished things a little bit. The same thing with Adesanya versus Costa. It kind of diminished things a little bit. But because I was expecting Leon Edwards, and because I was expecting a potential Wonderboy matchup, or because I was expecting Covington to fight Woodley in only a couple of weeks, Masvidal, let's wait a couple of weeks to see if Colby maybe calls you out on the microphone when he's done with Woodley's carcass. Not to get ahead of myself, Woodley might KO him, but I don't know, dude. I'm not feeling it. I'm just unbonerable, you know? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. I'll still watch it though. And listen, I've said all of this, and I know someone's going to leave it in the comments, so I might as well add it at the end. I'm still going to watch it. I ain't paying for it, but I'll watch it. It'll be good. It'll be really fun. Hope it's a good card. See ya.